Let's move on to some Charlie Kirk related news. DL Hughley, come on up to the front for us, please. DL Hughley, very, very respected person on this channel, respected by me. Very honorable guy. I like that he stands up and he carries and delivers very powerful, very well articulated, strong messages for what's right and what's wrong. It doesn't even have to be as a black thing or a black speaker or a black voice. Just period, for right and wrong, or for what sometimes I align and agree with. Like, yeah, that's real. We need people with voices like this to speak up right now. I wish we had more people that could speak up during times like this, like a DL Hughley. So shout out to him.
DL, we thought of you exactly at this tough time for these issues. Thanks for joining me tonight.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure.
Your reaction to ABC and Disney responding to the government pressure this way and pulling Jimmy Kimmel?
Well, I think it's disingenuous to pretend like comedy hasn't. I remember when Saturday Night Live used to always lampoon Gerald Ford, or when they talked about George Bush's mispronunciation of words, or they talked about Bill Clinton's sexual scandal. But I've never seen a president use the power of the presidency, the levers of government. Like, say, for instance, somebody wanted a broadcast permit renewed, or somebody wanted a merger to go through, to then say, I don't like these people, and if you want that merger or you want this license, or this could be a problem for you. There's a difference between an audience who culturally they could say, there could be a cultural kind of, indictment of you where people are calling your boss and trying to get you fired, which is a whole social thing. But the First Amendment doesn't protect you from that. It protects you from the government using the power and levers of power to leverage against you. So I think that people are conflating those two things. Like me get mad at you saying I'm canceling you, and you are now canceled on the social media realm is a lot different than the man who the most powerful man in the world using the levers of government to do the same thing.
Right, and you've spoken out, and you are among a group of comics who have used your speech at times to also comment on society, on who's in charge or who should be in charge. There's different types of comedy. So I'm wondering what you think the role is of the artist or the dissident now, because fact check true what you said. The First Amendment is first because it comes before the other things. How do we have debates or justice or democracy if we can't speak freely? And it says the government shall not abridge the free exercise and the free speech of the people. So how do you approach this now as a comic in this environment?
I think I did it the same thing when I'd like to believe we do it the same way as we did when it was society doing the same thing, except this government. For the FCC chairman talk about lies, the Trump cabinet is full of people who work for Fox, who had to pay almost $1 billion because they forwarded a lot. When they talk about you're maligning or joking about somebody, Laura Loomer, who serves at the pleasure of the president, made jokes not too long ago about George Floyd being sober for 5 years. Mike Lee made a joke about the congressmen that got shot in Minneapolis. Donald Trump himself. Yeah, Donald Trump himself made jokes about Nancy Pelosi's husband. And so it's just, I've never heard anybody get fired for telling a George Floyd joke. And he had kids. So it's just all of that. And I've defended everybody's right. When a comic at the RNC told a joke about Puerto Rico being a floating pile of garbage. Nobody, so we can't have these standards just this week. And man, on a broadcast, talked about killing the homeless. And then a week later, 3 or 4 days later, you have the FCC stepping in and saying that this is offensive.
We are also hearing from other comics speaking out. DL, I want to play what David Letterman, himself a former late night host, said today.
This is misery. And in the world of somebody who's an authoritarian, maybe a dictatorship, sooner or later, everyone is going to be touched. They took care of Colbert. And to be manipulated like that because the Ellison family didn't want to trouble Donald Trump with this move. My good friend Jimmy Kimmel, we all see where this is going, correct? It's managed media. It's ridiculous. And you can't go around firing somebody because you're fearful or trying to suck up to an authoritarian criminal administration in the Oval Office. That's just not how this works.
Letterman, quite clear there, your view of what's next and what lessons there may be, because Jimmy Kimmel had a big audience. We've covered tonight, spoke for mainstream America, but we know across the culture, with music artists, dissidents, many people have faced the brunt of this kind of government pressure in the United States before. What is the lessons learned?
Well, obviously, the lesson is the reason I think that we make such a conscious effort to obliterate history is not to learn the lessons before. But ultimately, every American has those famous two knobs that George Carlin talked about. One turns it off and one turns the channel. You have everything a la carte. You can listen to whatever you want. You can hear whatever you want. You can see whatever you want. And that is the power that all Americans have. You don't have to hear Kimmel. You don't have to hear Colbert. You don't have to hear Trump. But to say that nobody should have the right to hear it and to use the government to facilitate that. People seem to forget that who's in charge now won't always be in charge. And some of the very people now who are cheering for this won't be when it's their time in the barrel. I've always been an advocate for free speech. I've offended so many people that offended me in so many ways, but ultimately, either you believe that the First Amendment is sacrosanct or you don't. And one of the things I find particularly offensive is one of the reasons that Donald Trump did so well with the younger demographic was because of these podcast bros. And one of their main gripes was they felt like they were being inhibited by the woke culture, and they thought it was the cancel culture. And to have them now be silent now means that cancel culture was horrible when it was the people, but it's great when it's the government. So either you got to decide that there are rights that we all deserve, or none of us do.
Very well put, and you've walked the walk, both on the comedy. I've always found you pretty funny. We've had lighter segments than this, sir. But on comedy as a force.
Comedy isn't funny. The segment about comedy and what it means, it really is so. It's so surreal to live somewhere where literally every joke has a victim. Every single one, everyone.
Sure. And
now, depending on the sensitivity of the person who you're telling the joke about, there's also been something that's happened. I think two things that have happened that maybe people haven't. The role of the satirist is more important than ever. 60% of Americans get their news from satire, from social media, from comedians.
Sure.
And so now, the other thing is that we have the last two of the three popular presidents, Obama and Trump, are both they're cultural. They're cultural icons.
Right.
They have big. So now it's a whole different complexion.
And we know that Trump understands TV and PR, and he obviously knew and felt that this was making a difference, making an impact. DL, again, thank you for joining me on a big night. We'll have more fun next time, I hope. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I hope so. Thank you, man.
Yeah, it definitely looks like one of those targets. Not about freedom of speech. You don't align with what I'm representing and what I'm pushing and my views and what I'm preaching to my following and how I want to continue to rally the country in certain directions. And I attack you. It would be country altering if this was a trend. I mean, it's not like it's never happened before, but if it became like a trend, what's going on with this First Amendment of rights, people? Oh man. All right, I got some videos here. Might be upsetting to some, might be neutral to others, might stir up the chat a little bit. But let's go through some of these clips of Charlie Kirk. Remember, people, I am a person, self-admittedly, never knew anything about Charlie Kirk until his passing. That's when the news got ramped up of who he is. I started seeing all the videos, and I started doing my own watching of him and see who he is, why he's disliked, why he's liked, what he represents, what he doesn't represent. And these videos continue to be created now in the wake of his assassination. Let's see how we feel about some of this stuff. Trump on Charlie Kirk's old hate speech take. He might not be saying that now. So that's the Trump piece. But then after that, we're going to get into a bunch of clips that people are correlating to what some deem, not everybody, some deem hate speech.
But Charlie said, that there was no such thing as hate speech. He obviously, no one anticipated what happened to Charlie. But you have always been. Charlie said, that there was no such thing as hate speech. He obviously, no one anticipated what happened to Charlie. But you have always been. Charlie's.
And I'll tell you one more thing that's on my mind tonight, and conservatives everywhere. The idea that people are saying, well, he was an extremist, or he was a racist, or he was a Nazi, or a misogynist, whatever. Charlie Kirk was a mainstream conservative Republican. He had views that are held by tens of millions of people, including more than half the country in the last election.
If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. It begs the question, when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. And in the spirit of affirmative action, we have Ramon and Cadillac are your two pilots. They've never flown before, but they are black. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know you do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
The war on white people continues.
You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. We are raising,
and I'll tell you one more thing that's on my mind,
a generation of weak people like Simone Biles.
Without me getting into some of the details of these highly controversial statements, you guys know how big it is. I've seen the footage. I've seen the marching. I've seen even post of him being shot. The pushing of that message of white people are under attack, right? Now imagine if black people did that. And I know there could be pockets where black people do that as well. But imagine a big voice, because Charlie Kirk, huge following. Just imagine a big voice saying black people were under attack and almost calling, I'm not saying calling of arms. Charlie Kirk didn't do that, not that I've seen. But the people that rally to that, imagine just stirring a pot in this country and just trying to push a narrative that, hey, you white people are losing the country. You're losing it to black people. We're at war. Like, how destructive is that? Because not everybody is going to articulate themselves and just use their voice like Charlie Kirk. You're stirring up millions of people, and that's where some people start to equate it to hate speech, right? Because the impact of your words, not what you will do, but what the people that listen to you will do. And I hate that people always trying to make that separation. That's not what he said, but that's what he caused. There has to be some accountability and responsibility in continuing to push sentiments, points, angles, theories, philosophies that rile a certain group of people up and make other people feel away. That's called division. That's called, all right, now we got Bloods and Crips clearly here. Let's all fight. You pull up on campuses and you talk, but your followers pull up to these same campuses and they fight. You get it? I don't see how people don't categorize it as hate speech directly or indirectly.
LeBron James is a self-interested, narcissistic, and we know he's not very smart.
You're representing your nation. You're selfish sociopath.
Not very bright, not wise, not somebody of good character.
She is a shame to the country. Blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today. Data shows they were actually better in the 1940s. Let's get...
I gotta pause there for a second. This is a big problem with the Charlie Kirks of the world as well. You ever let me go on a bigger screen for a second. That one made me pause. I'm sorry. Data shows that blacks were doing better in the 1940s. Okay. Let's talk for a split second. You ever argue with those people and the only thing that they bank on is like the metrics or the numbers or the stats, right? But we all know it's 1000% wrong, right? You get it? It's just like, let's say McDonald's is allegedly is deadly. It's one of the worst foods ever. But the stats show that millions of people are buying McDonald's every fucking day. There's more people that eat McDonald's per day than eat wild caught salmon per day. So somebody that's going to like pull what Charlie Kirk just pulled there, come with that data and say eating wild caught salmon, which as long as it has that low mercury count, is a pretty good food to eat if you're going to eat it daily. I'm not saying eat it daily, but I'd rather that than McDonald's, who is already shown those French fries and that meat and those, it'll sit in your body for weeks and months, and it's disgusting food. But there's billions of people that eat McDonald's on a daily basis. Anybody ever see that documentary Food Inc? Is it Food Inc? The cover got the cow. Hold on. Hell, I got two of them. I don't even remember how. I got two of them. Anybody ever see this documentary? Food Inc. The barcode on the cow. You watch that documentary. It has scared the shit out of you as far as how you eat. There's pieces of this documentary that break down how many major slaughterhouses there are in the country, way less than you think. So if I'm in America and I eat a cheeseburger from McDonald's, how do I make sure that that cheeseburger is the exact same, tastes the same if I order it from McDonald's in Russia? How do I do that? You have to have some type of control or governance in the major, they say, slaughterhouses around the world, right? And they say the stake that, I'm going to still say allegedly, that McDonald's has in those slaughterhouses and those areas and corners of the earth, boy, if you saw the numbers and the stats that are like presented here, it was like, okay, like you have that level of a franchise. So how do I make sure that the Whopper is the same in every corner of the earth? Right? Scary shit. They show you a lot about dairy. They show you a lot about how food is processed and made, a lot of nasty shit. Damn near would maybe turn you vegan. You may try to live off of water if you watch a diet like this. I mean, a documentary like this. It's spooky. I encourage everybody to please check this out if you get a chance. It'll make you change a couple things, or at least see certain things a certain way that could help us be a little bit more healthy. All right. The fact of the matter is, though, Charlie Kirk's methodologies and his philosophies of how you push the numbers, okay? McDonald's, you're never going to make me believe that it's good for me, even if it sells more than almost any other food or any other franchise or any other company in the world. That's the big point that I'm just trying to make here. But he'll do that in his whole delivery, like data shows in the 1940s, well, what do you mean by that? Like what quantifiers are within that? Is it like what? Crimes committed by blacks? Is it health issues committed by blacks? Is it how many blacks had government assistance in the 1940s? Right? Like, what is it about the 1940s and what types of data that you would use to tell me that disgusting shit? Because the last thing I would want to do, if you gave me a chance to do it all over again, the last thing I would want to do is say, you know what? Put my lifespan in the 40s, 1940s. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I get to walk around with a good measure of equality in today's world. I know what's really out there, but shit, I could even be successful in today's world. I can surpass some of my white peers in today's world based on my own performance. That's today's world. I can't do that in the 1940s, which kind of coincides with people that walk around saying white people are under attack. What? Who said that? Joe said, black people say, we're losing. Then they said, well, white people, if y'all losing, then who the fuck is winning? It ain't us. You know, we're still fighting some of the same. We all should be fighting the same battles, to be honest, to be real, as humans. But staying on Charlie Kirk with those points of don't tell me about your fucking data. Tell me about the impact and how I got to live through these particular times. Saying that black people, by the data, were doing better in the 1940s is a disgusting comment. Disgusting. By the data.
Get loud for Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm also going to offer some context and some nuance about the death of George Floyd that no one dares to say out loud, which is that this guy was a scumbag.
Remember what BLM stands for? Burn, loot, and murder.
Now, does that mean it deserves to die?
BLM, Black Lives Matter, stands for burn, loot, and murder. Wow. I've seen a lot of people that were against Black Lives Matter because some people felt like that was a form of segregation or creating a vibe of inequality. Hey, we're focusing on black people too much instead of all of us. I've seen that. But to change the acronym of it, wow, like that. Okay.
Die? That's two totally different things. Of course not.
Prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact.
There's no such thing as white.
Hey, Charlie, man. That's a fact for every culture, man. I could pull up a news report right now of a Mexican that proud the white man, a white man that proud the black man, an Asian that proud a Mexican somewhere in the world today. So they're all facts. Like, you see what I'm saying? He speaks well, and he's very charismatic. And then you filter in the people's like almost human nature to want to be a part of something. And you birthed somebody that was able to get this type of following. It's scary stuff, man. Scary stuff.
Privilege or racism. So black people are allowed to talk about black culture in a way that white culture cannot. Black people can go up and say that there's a baby mama problem in black America, and white people are not allowed to say that. Oh, I just did. So what are you gonna do? Cancel me? Black people are allowed to say. Black people are allowed to say.
I'm a grown man. I got way too
Black
much
people are allowed.
Really? Y'all want me to react to that? It's simple, man. Let's take it above the racial or the racism approach. Okay, let's take it above that. It's simply understanding at the deepest level. Okay, I could never understand at the deepest level what it is to be a woman. I'm a fucking man. All right, a woman could never fully understand what it's like to be a black man in America. Right? We want men to be a part of our sons' lives. For what reason? We want mothers to be a part of their daughters' lives. For what reason? Because you could teach this little girl how to be a grown woman better than I can as a man, and vice versa. It's not just a racial thing, right? So there are tons of white people out there that probably discuss black culture issues in a respectful manner, in a helpful manner. And I'm the type of person where I would say that is 1000% welcomed. Come one, come all. If you can help me, I don't care about the color of your skin. But if you talk down on me, and then I could look at you and say, damn, you didn't even live through it though. You don't fully understand it though. It's like how I feel when somebody tells me hip hop music is garbage, right? I don't think anybody on this channel believes that. Hip hop music, Charlie Kirk does that, right? Hip hop music in general should be banned. It's garbage. Now, I can pull up some verses and some songs and some creativity and some intricacy and some jewels and some life-changing experiences that I've gotten from hip hop. Hip hop has been a teacher to many of us. People that came before us teaching us about what goes on in certain areas of the world and certain households. It could be a teacher. Is there destructive lyrics in hip hop? Duh. No different than me going and sitting down and watching fucking Terminator and see Arnold Schwarzenegger, Yao Maya shoot 1 million fucking people, right? I could find destructive imagery or words in movies, all music damn near. I could find something that I probably wouldn't want my 4-year-old fucking daughter or son to hear or see, right? But the targeting of hip hop, you can't convince me that that's not a personal thing, because logically it wouldn't make sense. I rarely see people target hip hop the way that he does here, target Hollywood the same way. I don't see it. I don't see the same Charlie Kirks of the world go drag Quentin Tarantino or Mel Gibson or Tom Hanks or some of these directors. I don't see it. I don't see it. All right. Or who made San Andreas whatchamacallit, Grand Theft Auto? Who's behind one of the biggest video game franchises ever? You know how many people act out that shit? You know how many kids want to go act out some of that Grand Theft Auto shit in their regular world and regular lives? They're influenced by it online in these Minecraft games and places, seeing all this wicked, weird stuff. Are you kidding? The Call of Duties, these kids are learning how to load machine. They know more about military level guns and weaponry than I do from the Call of Duty games and whatnot. Attack video game, every form of entertainment can impact a child. Video games, shit. I wonder if I could put video games at the top over movies and music. I wonder if I can. Maybe I should go pull the data. The fuck? You can't be serious.
Skin color, a generation of weak people like Simone Biles. LeBron James is a self-interested, narcissistic, and we know he's not very smart. You're representing your nation. You're selfish sociopath. Now gets their own summertime celebration. Oh, wow, look how far blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day. Thomas Sowell and Justice Clarence Thomas are far better black role models to celebrate than Martin Luther King. This guy is not worthy of a national holiday.
There's a mythology around MLK that does not warrant the reverence that he gets treated with in America.
We have a federal holiday to a guy that talked about race all the time. Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. We celebrate the Civil Rights Act more than the American founding.
Martin Luther King's a bad guy, y'all. News to me. They didn't teach me that when I was young. He's teaching me that now, though. I appreciate it, Charlie. Thank you for the updates.
The country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. The Democrats are not lifting
Made a mistake when they passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true.
a finger to remember the well over 100 people that have died in Texas Hill Country. The death toll likely would not have been as high if it wasn't for DEI.
Ketanji Brown Jackson is what your country looks like on critical race theory.
You're going to remove my appendix and you're a black lesbian.
Ketanji Brown Jackson is an embodiment of
Now gets their own
the tyranny that we currently live on. She's an ideological, unintelligent, yet confident fanatic.
Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right?
So she wants to be the first ever black woman on the Supreme Court, yet she won't even admit that she's a woman. The transgender movement is an introductory phase.
These doctors need to be put in prison
To get you to strip yourself of your humanity,
a Nuremberg-style trial.
to mesh with machines. Interestingly, I think there is an argument to bring back the MRS degree.
Reject feminism.
Young women need to get married at a younger age and start having kids. I'm studying sociology. No, you're not. We know why you're here.
Submit to your husband, Taylor. You're not in charge.
You will find a husband if you have the intent to find a husband.
You got to change your name. If not, you don't really mean it.
Democrat women want to die alone without children.
A lot of them are on birth control too, and birth control really screws up female brains, by the way.
That's really rich. I didn't know
The tyranny that we currently
women not to complain 50 years ago. That's funny. We should tell them to stop freezing their eggs and start finding their partner earlier and have lots of babies.
Every single one of you need to make sure that your loved ones are not on birth control.
So materially insane to think that 1 in 5 American women will be raped in their life.
It is. I agree.
No, meaning that they're lying about being raped.
You're comparing abortion to the Holocaust.
Absolutely, I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse.
Because Jewish donors have been the #1 funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies. And by the way, this is my other problem with death penalty. It takes too long, too many appeals. It should be public. It should be quick. It should be televised. At what age should you start to see public execution?
16. I think you could do it earlier. I think you maybe at age 12.
I want to watch that execution. That'll make my day better. A lot. I mean, Joe Biden is a bumbling, dementia-filled, Alzheimer's, corrupt tyrant who should honestly be put in prison and or given the death penalty for his crimes against America.
The Democrat Party
Women not to complain 50 years ago. That's funny.
believes everything that God hates.
We're dealing with maggots, vermin, and swine here. These are not good people. They're not even a little bit good. In fact, I know people that went to Haiti passively as agnostic atheists, and they came back searching for Jesus because they saw legit demonic activity. Kamala Harris wants to see the elimination of the United States of America.
Democrat Party supports everything that God hates.
There's not much you can do, folks. You have a government that hates you. You have a traitor as president. Buy weapons. I keep on saying that. As top Republicans reject any link between GOP rhetoric and Paul Pelosi assault. If some amazing patriot out there in San Francisco wants to really be a midterm hero, someone should go and bail this guy out. Native-born Americans, you better buy weapons, everybody. Have a lot of guns at your disposal. I would never leave your home without a weapon. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect
Party believes everything that
our other God-given rights.
we actually need looser gun laws because I think that
Oh, yeah. They said, we have more guns at the Turning Point HQ than you can imagine. Yeah, if anyone ever tries to come, that will not end well.
Oh no, imagine the world without Joy Reid. Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee.
or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson.
I am channeling the emotions of millions of conservatives who are angry. They knew Charlie. They loved Charlie. They view Charlie as a mainstream conservative Republican.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to pause comment, people. I don't think that was easy for a lot of people to watch. I really don't.
At 2 a.m. and the stand. George Zimmerman was hunted at night by Trayvon Martin at 2 a.m. and the stand your ground law allows you to stand your ground up against people that wish you harm. The facts around the George Zimmerman case, I'll admit, are a little bit rusty. It's been 10 years since that case. What I remember is this. It was highly scrutinized.
Right.
The jury was bipartisan. He was fully acquitted. And when all the facts came out, it was legitimate self-defense.
Fuck the Kirk boy. Fuck him.
Really don't care about Charleston White, but to say George Zimmerman was hunted by Trayvon Martin in the night in question. Trayvon Martin hunted him. And that's how we ended up in a self-defense situation. Because he hunted him. I'm just trying not to get canceled, people. Can y'all tell? Can y'all tell? Man who falsely claimed to be Charlie Kirk's killer has been charged with possession of child P after false claim led to FBI checking his phone. So they got your stupid ass for one thing or another, huh? Sounds like a nasty guy if that's true. This was him. Remember this guy?
How dare you!
We don't know if it's him or not.
I say screaming, shoot me and everything. Like, what are you there for then? A decoy or like, what are you there for? Has been charged with possession. False claim led FBI to checking his phone. Falsely claimed to be. He claimed that he was the shooter. Like, what were you up to? What were you trying to do? I don't know. Last but not least, I'm gonna close it here. I thought this was extremely ironic. Look at this. October 14, 1993, Charlie Kirk's date of birth, October 14, 1973. George Floyd's date of birth. How fucking ironic is that, people? I'll close it out like this. If y'all remember when I first started covering Charlie Kirk, I tweeted after seeing the video online of when he got shot in the neck. I just saw that video on Twitter. I was just like, oh, and I can tell it was something political based on, him, the speaking engagement and some of the things he was saying. I can tell. And I tweeted, that Charlie Kirk video is sad. In a perfect world, we don't kill each other over our differences. And like the first 4 or 5 replies to that tweet was showing no sympathy to him. People were just like, F him. But I was just like, what? I'm looking at my Twitter responses to that too. I'm like, what the hell? Who? What the? So I took the tweet down and I said, ARP, go do your homework. You may have jumped ahead of yourself as far as, because you don't know what support you're indirectly or directly put. Let me see what I just tweeted. And I started watching videos of him. I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to have a lot of people that don't like him, but he's also going to have a lot of people that love him. You just got to pick what type of person you are. Unfortunately, in this country, I like to stay neutral. I like these things and I dislike those things. That's how I like to live. I don't want to pick a side. I don't want to be a Republican. I don't want to be forced to feel like I got to be a Democrat. I don't want to be forced to feel like I got to be a conservative or a liberal. I want to put together whatever I feel is good for me and my family and my people, or the world that I live in, or the country that I live in. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be forced to take your bullshit with some of the stuff I agree with because I got to align with this gang. No. But videos like those that we just watched, don't get canceled, ARP. Just move along.